Hey everyone, welcome to the 6th episode of Titanfall Thursdays. As you've already seen by the title, today we're gonna be doing a tier list. It's not original, but hey, it's gonna eventually come out of my mouth sooner or later, so I might as well get started now. Ion. Right out of the gate, we're starting with a real hard hitter. Just looking at her kit and overall design, it's easy to see that Ion is the most flexible out of all the Titans in the game. She's able to lock down areas defensively with her tripwire and provide defensive support through her laser shot. And she also has, debatably, one of the best abilities in the game, the Vortex Shield. From offense to defense, she's got it all. And who knows, in another universe or timeline, I would have said that Ion is an easy S-tier Titan. But, I'm gonna be honest, I think she's a solid A-tier instead. Let's talk about Ion's biggest weaknesses, energy and the splitter rifle. As you all know, pretty much everything in Ion's kit shares a resource pool that can be seen on the left side of the screen. This energy bar is crucial to Ion's balancing and ensures that all of your abilities can't be spammed at the same time. Energy management is crucial to an Ion's gameplay, and it takes skill to know when you can afford to spend energy or not. That alone raises the skill ceiling and is perfectly fine, if not for the other weakness Ion has, the splitter rifle. Now, I've already done a video where I pretty much forced myself to use this thing, and I was surprised at how decent the damage was. However, in reality, the splitter rifle doesn't exactly pair well with the rest of your kit. To do any sort of meaningful burst damage with a splitter rifle, you've got to aim down your sights. But why use the splitter rifle when you have another, faster option with a lot more range, precision, and reliability? It's a meme, but people who say the laser shot is Ion's primary weapon, well, they're not completely wrong. At the end of the day though, an ability is an ability, and Ion just naturally does less damage than the other Titans due to what she has to manage, but in exchange, she's pretty good in pretty much any scenario you put her through. So again, I'm putting Ion in A tier. Legion. While Legion isn't the strongest Titan, he's the walking epitome of badass. An absolute Goliath of a Titan with a huge ass chain gun? Say less. So it's a shame that Legion actually gets wrecked by a lot of things. Pilots can absolutely bully him with satchel charges, Ion soft counters him, Tone and Northstar wreck him in range, Scorch wrecks him in close range, and since he's an ogre class Titan, he's pretty slow. Despite all of this though, he's one of the hardest hitting Titans out there, and there are ways to improve on his seemingly one-dimensional playstyle. But yeah, he's still got his flaws, so I'm gonna be putting him in B tier. Northstar. Northstar is pretty sick. She's a highly mobile and high damage dealer at the cost of a lower health pool and pretty much non-existent close combat capability. This results in her being great in maps where the sightlines are long, but otherwise, she can be a real liability sometimes. At only 3 bars of health, she has the tendency to get focused easily because of that, and due to her having no real defensive options when she comes face to face with a Titan or an AT weapon. However, this just means that she's a powerful glass cannon that can rack up huge damage numbers if left unchecked. So with that, I'm gonna put her in A tier right under Ion. Scorch. Just like with Legion, Scorch is another awesome concept and design for a Titan, but unlike Legion, he's less flexible when it comes to a lot of maps due to his lack of consistent long-range damage. In close-quarter maps like Complex and Crash Site, he can absolutely dominate with his AoE damage, but on maps like Colony with long sightlines, there's not much he can do besides pray that his enemies come closer, or hope that he can consistently hit some nasty thermite shots. But, I suppose that's the fun in playing Scorch. In terms of overall effectiveness though, you risk putting in more effort for a lower payoff than other Titans. But when you get those rare high moments, oh yeah. That's why I'm putting Scorch in B tier. Tone. Okay. This might get me some flack, but I think Tone is a B tier Titan. Okay. Before you rise up in arms against me, let me explain why. Tone has always been a controversial Titan. Back in her prime, she was easily, if not, one of the best Titans in the game, but that was years ago. Tone since then has been nerfed, and I believe the Tone hate that continues to this day is kind of unwarranted. Sure, she can be annoying, but in actuality, she's not that hard to fight against if you know what you're doing. Ion can catch her burst missiles, Ronin can block and destroy the particle wall, and Northstar can outpoke her easily with a railgun and cluster missile. And while I was gathering footage for this video, she was the only Titan I lost a game with. However, she's really dominant against pilots, legions, scorches, and monarchs who have no real way of getting past her particle wall unless they move forward and take a bunch of damage. And so while she may not be quite an A tier Titan, she certainly is the best B tier Titan. Ronin. Now, I may be a bit biased here considering that I'm a G.76 Ronin main, but I truly believe Ronin sits at the top of A tier. However, that doesn't automatically make him the best Titan in the game. In fact, he's one of the harder Titans to actually use efficiently. And why is that? Well, we've all come to recognize that one Ronin who truly believes that their sword is the ultimate damage dealer in the game, and as a result, they charge forward with no self-preservation and they die a very horrible death. So as you might have already guessed, that's not the correct way to play Ronin. But then, what is the right way to play Ronin, and how does that make him an A tier Titan? Well, let's look at another game. Team Fortress 2. You see this guy? This is the Scout. He's the fastest class in the game and also carries a shotgun just like Ronin. The Scout's role in TF2 is pretty simple. With only 125 HP, he's definitely not going to be the most effective in a fight with a guy like Soldier or Heavy. So what does he do instead? He flanks, and he chooses his fights that he knows he can win, which is only possible due to how fast he is. Now if you take that logic and apply it to Ronin, I'm sure you can see the parallels. Ronin is all about getting in and getting out before the enemy can retaliate. And as you know, speed is very important in Titanfall 2. So if you're naturally one of the fastest Titans in the game with the ability to inflict high burst damage, that's pretty powerful. But again, the biggest problem with Ronin is his low health pool and the fact that a lot of people overextend themselves, which leads to a lot of unnecessary damage. And I won't lie, I'm guilty of this too. Now I could go more in depth about why I think Ronin is A tier, but I already made a whole guide, so you know. But yeah, in the right hands, I think Ronin is easily the best A tier Titan. Monarch. Monarch is a pretty scary Titan. But if it isn't apparent enough, I believe that no Titan in this game is truly an S tier. Monarch, though, is a special case. With no upgrades, she's a decently easy target. In fact, with no upgrades alone, I would put her in a high B tier, as she's essentially just a more mobile legion. However, that changes when she starts getting those upgrades. And at Core 3, where she's at her strongest, there's no doubt in my mind, she's an easy S tier. But making it to Core 3 really depends on the skill of the Monarch player and the lobby you're in. Monarch only becomes an S tier Titan if you allow them to do so. In this background footage you're seeing, I went 14-0 completely dominating this lobby. Was it because I was good? God no! These guys just practically threw themselves at me for easy executions, and I kinda just sat in the backline shooting whenever I could. And when people did start shooting me, they would often stop halfway because of something else. You do that enough times, that Monarch you saw with only 4 bars of health becomes a behemoth with 6. But if you take the time to learn her counters and matchups, and if your team actually has the brain power to focus her, she becomes a pretty easy kill. So in general, I believe Monarch is a low A tier, and she's definitely up there on the pain in my ass scale. Overall, I think the Titan balance in this game is very well done. It's just that you're not guaranteed to always have the best matchups, especially with the state this game is in. Anyways, feel free to agree or disagree in the comments below, and be on the lookout for future tier lists. That's gonna be all for me today, and so I'll see y'all in the next one.